Welcome back to Smart Life. I am Dr. Gina. It's good to be with you. With more on this Bergdahl story, I want to go now to Rusty Humphries. He has been to the detention facility at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and he interviewed the warden of the facility. Rusty Humphries, welcome back to Smart Life. Good to have you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Gina. And I didn't just interview the warden once or twice. He's actually become one of my best friends. And so I've had a very nice working relationship with the goings-on at Guantanamo.
And so what don't we know? Because I know there's a lot of, the same sound bites we're starting to hear over and over in the media, but
Sure.
what aren't we hearing that you know?
Well, some of the things of who these gentlemen were, and gentlemen is a pretty bad word to use for them, these detainees, these were some of the worst of the worst. These were guys that were very familiar with using what is known as cocktail number 5, which is the mixing of all bodily fluids a male can produce, mixing it into a little cup and then trying to throw it in the face of the guards. There was one of the detainees that was released recently that had done it 37 times. Since the last time we had checked into it. So this is not just a couple of nice guys. These are also guys that are very much were looking to go back into the battle, looking to continue the jihad. And again, this is a very, very bad deal, obviously.
What's life like there in Gitmo? We hear all these horrible stories. We hear how bad it is. We hear how unfair it is, how it makes us the enemy of the world. Rusty, what's the truth on that?
The truth is, any prisoner in the United States of America would love to trade places with the guys at Guantanamo. They get far more food. They get far more time outside. They get more exercise. They get more space. They get books. They don't get as much television because last time that I knew they had television was for the World Cup, and they rioted because they didn't like one of the commercials that was on the World Cup. So I don't think they get TV. But other than that, the food, the access to lawyers, the doctors, the dentists, this is a first-class facility that, again, these detainees have far more rights and benefits than our average everyday American prisoners anywhere.
The warden that you spoke with, Rusty, how bad did he say it is? Should we expect more terrorist acts based on these 5 being loose?
Yes, because what it does is it shows our acquiescence to terror. We are now looking as cowards, and that when we're talking about a different culture, a culture that looks at let's say I was to open a door for a man, and as I would anywhere, I'm polite. In America, that's politeness. Over there, that's seen as weakness, cowardice. And so, we're acting weak and coward to, 5 people who are very high up in Al Qaeda, in the Taliban, and these are guys that are going to go over, and now they're in Qatar, and they're being allowed to roam freely around the country, to do so also for a man that appears to be a deserter and appears to be somebody who. Was it 14 men lost their lives looking for this guy in Afghanistan? This just looks like either President Obama is the dumbest human being on the planet or knows exactly what he's doing, and I don't know which it is.
Either stupid or sinister is absolutely the case. Did your warden friend, was he there when any of these men were told that they were going to be let go?
No, he's been, when you're the quote unquote warden, or if you're in the Army, you tend to do about 1-year stints in whatever job you're in. So he did a 1-year stint as the warden at Guantanamo. But unfortunately for him, it was the 1 year where it was very heavy, focused by the world, and focuses this is the worst place in the world. I remember one place we made a deal. I went and spoke to the troops, and I said, I'll go and do it, but on one caveat, Colonel. What's that? That you'll open any locked door I see. If I see a locked door and I want to open it, you'll open it for me. Okay, deal. So we're walking around this, Guantanamo Bay, and I see a locked door. And I say, Colonel, open that door. Boy, you don't want to go in that room. He opens the room. There's 2 soldiers in there. Boys, tell them what you do. Well, this is where we keep the Klondike bars and Pepsis for the detainees if they behave themselves on Friday, sir. Oh, come on, you're making that up. No, would you like one, sir? you know, So some of the big complaints is they don't get enough honey for their Captain Crunch cereal in the mornings.
Wow. Really wow. Well, so Rusty, where do you think we go from here in terms of Do you think that the president is going to lose Democrats in this? Do you think we have some allies in saying this can't be? Is there any turning back now that we've set these guys free? And will Gitmo just be completely opened up? Is that the next step?
I think that's his goal. I think that's the goal of the extremists on the left. When you go down to Guantanamo or, you talk to some of the terrorists, as I have in the Palestinian areas, I have in Iraq and in Afghanistan, they truly believe that they are going to take over the world. They believe it's in the Quran. They believe that the idea of the White House being overtaken is in the Quran. So this idea that we're just going to work together and be some peaceful, loving world, it's just not in the DNA of most of these, what we would consider extremist Muslims. What this is going to do, in my opinion, is going to embolden them. We've given them a date, the date we're going to be out of Afghanistan. They now know how long to lay back and prepare and get ready, and then it's going to get worse again. Just like in Iraq, we said we were going to pull out. Last month was one of the deadliest months in Iraq, in this Iraq war, yet nobody talks about that. We don't acknowledge it. So, the administration's playing a game, and the game is trying to look good in the press. This was to try to get the VA scandal off the front pages, as we all know.
Right.
It is now biting them in the butt, and rightfully so. This scandal is unraveling faster than just about any scandal in the history of our country, and rightfully so, because it's one of the dirtiest scandals in the history of our country.
Is it though, Rusty? Because I'm starting to hear a lot of placation. I'm starting to hear the mainstream media saying things like, well, he was sick, that's why they went to get him. With, of course, no discussion about our prisoner being held in Mexico, who did, by the way, serve honorably in 2 different tours of duty, and who, by the way, suffers severely from post-traumatic stress disorder. And yet he sits there in a Mexican prison rotting, while this guy got to come home because he looked thin. I don't know.
Right. Well, and you would think that we would have a lot more power to do something in Mexico because they're our close friends. How many billions of dollars are we sending down there? And I know, Dr. Gina, you're one of the people in the forefront of trying to get that guy released from Mexico, and you're doing a heck of a job doing that. We thank you for that. But we're talking about, men that went and died to try to save this guy originally. My father was killed in Vietnam. I understand what it's like to lose somebody, okay? I get it. My father was killed when I was 3 years old. I've lived it. I understand the sacrifice these people make. And to go and allow 5 of the worst terrorists in Guantanamo Bay, and don't get it wrong, Dr. Gina, if you're still in Guantanamo Bay, you are very, very, very bad. These guys were on a list that were to never be released, ever, ever to be released. And yes, yet we released him for this guy that appears to be a real dirtbag. Now, again, we don't have confirmation. We don't know for sure. There could be some mistakes.
I don't know, Rusty. All I had to see was his dad standing on the White House lawn praising Allah, and then the president buddying up, cuddling up with him, literally physically. To me, that said it all. Rusty Humphries of the Washington Times, you keep at it, my friend. We need your work out there. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you, Dr. Gina.
All right.